Hello, everyone. Today, what we're going to be talking about is social contract theory and how it relates to this class. A lot of the assignments that we're going to be working on in this class are tied into the concept of social contract theory. So, I want to go over what that actually is and how we'll be using it. All right. So, very brief history because the history overall isn't that important to your knowledge of social contract theory for the purposes of this class, but we've really kind of had social contract theory around as long as we've had people living in groups. Because in order for there to be a society or a group, you have to have some kind of social contract. So we have like the first kind of record of people talking about what social contract theory means would be Socrates. But the people that actually formulated the theory were people like Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Jean Jacques Rousseau. So you're looking at, you know, the beginning of the 1600s all the way through the late 1700s. So, what is social contract theory? So, the idea is that whenever human beings decide to live together in groups, in societies, or even with like just two people deciding to live together, there are some things that you have to agree upon in order to be able to get along and stay together. So, a lot of times, the way that this is manifest in different societies around the world and all over the historical existence of humans have been laws. So, when we get together in a group, we have certain rules and laws that we all agree to live under so that people can function, can be effective, can be successful. So laws tend to be the thing that people often bring up when they talk about social contract theory. But there's all kinds of other ways that human beings make social contracts with each other. They don't always have to be written out. Some of them are implied, meaning when you go into a situation, you are assuming that the people that are there are going to act a certain way, and you yourself also have to act a certain way. So, why is this important? Um, when we have people following social contract, when people are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, you tend to have a very successful society. If you think about how societies start to become more and more successful over time, usually that is predicated on social contract. So if you were a farmer and you weren't living in a society and you were growing potatoes, you'd really only have the opportunity to be eating potatoes and maybe anything else that you could forage from your area. But if you start to live in a society where you grow potatoes, someone else raises pigs, someone else is a blacksmith, someone else is a merchant, someone else is a firefighter, having the establishment of infrastructure and having people being able to fulfill certain roles inside that society is going to allow that society to be more successful and grow because you have diversification. Now, if suddenly the pig farmer one day decided, you know what, I think I would like to have that potato farm too because I'd like to raise my pigs on that potato farm, and came over and killed you in order to have your potato farm, well, then that shows everybody else inside that society that really nothing that they have is safe. And if you don't feel safe in a society, you're less inclined to want to work towards its betterment. Okay. So that's obviously a huge barricade in a society's ability to be successful and to be fulfilling to the people that are living inside of it. So when you have people adhering to social contract, things tend to run smoothly and the society is successful. And if people are not following social contract, then that's when things start to break down. The society starts to become less successful because people are not participating in positive ways, and things get very, very messy. um, which you could definitely tie into what we see happening presently with things like whether or not people are adhering to restrictions related to COVID-19, or what we've seen with the current situation with not only the murder of George Floyd, but police brutality and how it's been endemic to the American uh, law enforcement system for hundreds of years in America. So, what we have here on the left is people getting along because social contract is working, and on the right, there is broken social contract, people are not getting along. So, to give you another example of social contract, uh, school is a really good example of a social contract. Now, we do have policies, obviously, for what's supposed to happen in school, and we have different roles that we play inside a school environment. You have the professors, you have the staff and administrators, you have the students. And we all have certain things that are expected of us. And in return, we also have expectations of the people that come into those situations. So, for example, in a classroom environment, you have the students and you have the teacher. And the students have their expectations of the professor. The professor is supposed to have knowledge and background of their field. They're supposed to be able to convey that knowledge to the students so that the students can learn, become more skillful, become more competent, and give feedback to the students so the students can see how they can become better in that subject. Whereas the professors have expectations of the students. They give reading assignments, they give homework assignments, they give different types of assessments, they give out content, and what they're looking for the students to do is to be able to understand content. If they don't understand, to ask questions. And then on assessments, it's all about seeing how well the students understand that information. So when this social contract is working successfully, the professor is providing lots of information and support for the students, adequate feedback so the students know what they're getting right and what they need to work on. And in turn, the students are showing up, doing their work, are engaged critically with the information that's being presented, and trying to make improvements on the skill sets of the course. Now, I already kind of mentioned another social contract, but something that has been under a lot of discussion lately is the police. When you think about what social contract is related to the police, we as citizens of any kind of society give a certain amount of power to police that we as individual citizens don't have. So we allow them to carry guns. They have vehicles that are able to supersede laws that we are supposed to adhere to. They have the ability to detain and arrest people in accordance with the given law. And our expectation of the police is that if we're in trouble or we need help, that if we call upon them, that they will come and they will help us and they will keep us safe. That is what the social contract is meant to be in relation to police and society. But as we've been seeing, uh, that's been pretty trampled on by what's happened, and not just recently, but for really literally hundreds of years in this country. That there are groups of people inside society that feel like they simply cannot trust the police, and they really haven't been given a lot of reasons to trust the police because of police behavior. So, this would be an example of, at least for some of the population, a very broken social contract. So, how are we using this in this course? So, we have, for each of the papers that we're doing, we have a critical thinking assignment. And the critical thinking assignments in this class are all about when social contract breaks down. Okay, so we'll be examining different types of social contract and how it is broken, and maybe a little bit about the causes of why it's broken, What would it look like if it looked correct, if the social contract was actually working correctly? So we're going to be looking at different types of broken social contract in our critical thinking assignments. And this will all eventually culminate into the last paper of this course, where you will be selecting what you see as a broken social contract in the United States. Our focus in this class will be on domestic issues of broken social contract, um, and a little bit about what has gone wrong. Okay, so that's a little bit about the social contract theory and how it relates to this course and how we'll be utilizing it not only in periodic assignments throughout the semester, but also how it relates to the last paper of this class. So if you have any questions about anything that I've gone over in this video, please go ahead and send me an email, or you can post to the question board and I'll get back to you. And thank you very much for listening.